Hello everyone, my name is Annual and today we're back for another draft guide video. I'm going to try to release this video right before today, so that means there's roughly 3 days left in the season, meaning if you play today, you will get your Masters End. I'm trying to get my way all the way up to Emperor, but until then, I will just help you get over to Masters. This is not too hard. Alright, so I'll go take a look at let's see here, what's a good, I guess we'll take a cleave draft, because cleaves do happen, and if you're playing somewhere near the last few days, you're going to get cleaved. So I take my opener, my fast pick. I try to take something that establishes, just to give myself a place in the draft, right? I don't want to say I'm going dirt slow. I don't want to say that, like, saying that I'm going dirt slow means they can run me over, right? So I just establish a foot in my draft saying, which I can take it, or like, as a pivot point, which is the reason why I'm taking ML Pair as my first pick. She's 280 speed. Yes, the rest of my units in my team are not nowhere close to maybe 240 speed, but I'm establishing a point in my draft to, if I need to speed up, for instance, if my opponent is going slow, I can speed up, right? Or I can neutralize or stabilize my draft with a little bit more tanks, or like, you know, DPS, of course, right? So taking the opener in slot 1 is usually very important, or like a very strong pick like DDR can work every now and then. But this is the reason why we take Para first. So we take Para first because it feels nice, and I rather take Para over Sea Phantom Polly. I just really like her, but Sea Phantom Polly may be a little bit stronger in some cases. So we take Para, and then he takes Veronica BBK. If your opponent takes Veronica anywhere near their first 2 picks, they are 9 times out of 10 picking BBK, meaning we are going to get cleaved. Now, if you have speed, remember how I said on our first pick, we take a fast unit so we can pivot at any point. If you have speed on your account, at this point, you can take another speed imprint and speed up. But knowing I don't have speed on my account, I am slowing down. I am seeing he's going to cleave me, so I'm going to tank down, because I know I cannot take first turn against him. Now, I've had lots of success taking Polly on 3 today against cleavers, because they normally ban Polly no matter what in the draft. Like, I could take Abyssal Euphene on 3, I usually do that sometimes, or I take Abyssal Euphene on 2, because I know 100% I'm going to get cleaved, so I'm taking Abyssal Euphene. I like taking Polly on 3 now, because Polly usually gets banned. So we take Polly on 3, which means he's not allowed to take Sea Phantom Politis, because if he does, she can't press any buttons. Because if he presses any buttons, he has a chance of getting full team stunned. So that is the reason why I took Polly, right? And I took Mitigation on 2. I didn't want to take my Mitigation on 3, because usually they don't ban off Mitigation, but I just took Mitigation on 2 because I needed something that was like that disrupts his draft fully, which is my 3rd pick. Now he decides to go Tomoka Monk. Now, Tomoka is not a threat of the unit, and Tomoka Cleave is really hard to do. So honestly, I felt like because he picked Tomoka here, I had an advantage in winning, because Tomoka is just not as strong of a unit. But when he picked Monk, sorry, a little bit, I coughed a little bit, but when he picked Monk, I knew immediately I had to ban that unit. No matter what, that unit has to be banned out. Because if I let Monk through, especially when he has a book on 3, if I let it through, all he needs to do is soul burn, and then he could just go do an S2 into like any target, probably my Blood Moon Haste. I will no longer be able to do anything, and I will pretty much be able to get ran over for fun. They can do whatever they want because I'm binded, so I can't counter, and they have a seal on one of my primary units, which will once again either be Abyssal Euphene or Blood Moon Haste, which is probably Blood Moon Haste, so he can kill whoever he wants, and I do not get Blood Aura. So I knew 100% I had to ban that unit. But so I had to take very strong picks, which is why I took Abyssal Euphene, because I know Abyssal Euphene is really good to cleave, and it's the reason why I took Blood Moon Haste, because it forces my opponent to not be able to target anything else, because they have to deal with the Blood Moon Haste first if they want to kill me. And unfortunately, Flan had to get through the draft, because once again, we knew we had to ban Monk no matter what. She was a force ban. So here's how the match played out. So he can't press S2 here, because if he presses S2, he will trigger my red poly. So he is forced to press S3 and he won't be able to give attack buff to his team. He goes into haste because he needs to kill haste first in order to deal with my team. And as you can see, it didn't do a lot of damage, which is the primary reason why I did not care about Taboka. Luckily, we got a S2 off of Bale here because he crit me, which put up speed buff, which protects our immunity buff on Albedo, meaning he can't target her, and it strips off his buff, so he no longer has immortality on BBK. I do get a lucky counter here, and it pretty much sets the field for the rest of the game. Right, so once again, his only target has to be BMAs, and he decides to rip here even when he has attack down, and because he has attack down, he fails to kill. Pretty much from this point on, he ripped all of his skills, he can no longer win the match. He decides to rip S1 because he was greeting, and he failed to kill because he greeted. So we just press S3 here. This is so we can try to get some Abyssal Crown stuns as well as some buffables all around. And Abyssal BC takes a turn, so we just press S1 because we can't press anything else, and plus it will kill off everything else. BBK is left alive because of the immortality proc, but she has some buffable on her, meaning she can't actually get her next immortality. So we just go ahead and finish off the BBK here. There's no need to press S3 because, well, she's already unbuffable, so I just S1. And once again, the friend is left alive by herself. She can't really win from here. His target has to be probably Blood Moon Haste because, well, he hasn't triggered yet, but he decided to greed once again and hit Abyssal Euthine. I hope for Abyssal Crown here, but didn't get it. And I just go for S3 here because S3 does do a little bit more damage than the S1. And it almost kills him. He decides S1 because, well, that's the only thing he can do. He kills off 2, but I have S3 ready, so I win the game. This is another cleave here. I followed the same sets as last draft, so you could just take a look at this. But yeah, once again, mitigation on 2. We take red poly on 3 here, so he can no longer press buttons on his Sea Phantom poly. We took Abyssal Euthine because she's good into cleave, and because of the fact he has Celine here, and Veronica, it's kind of hard to pick a Miki, and it's kind of hard to pick Janua because that's there. And Hua Young is not the best into cleave. She's okay. So I needed something that was fairly stronger, so I decided to just take Tori, and I can show the outcome of the match, but pretty much I think just knowing your knowing what that you're getting cleaved just helps a lot. I think this is another fair match, I guess I'll show. It was a little bit on the iffy side, but I decided to take Flan on first pick because everything was banned in terms of openers. Luna was banned, Polly was banned, Payra was banned, and I banned DDR. So I decided to take Flan, which is probably the strongest pick with all these bans on board, and he decides to respond Ilanov, Young Senya. So because of the fact that he picked Young Senya, he's doing this so he can respond into a hard steady pick. So I decided to take Tori Ross, and at this point in the draft, I immediately realized I took too many fire units. So that means I can get easily punished if he just takes a bunch of blue units, right? So he decides to take a Miki on 3, which is pretty bad for me. And he decided to take Harsetti. I think it's because he realized Harsetti has not been drafted at any point in this draft, and he decided to panic pick it, which is really bad. This is probably a good lesson that you do not panic pick Harsetti. which is probably the reason why a lot of players ban her, because you don't know what's going to happen in your matches. He decided to panic pick Harsetti, and I was able to punish him for it, right? So I picked Mort, and I needed one more really good pick into the Miki because he locked it into 3. Mort was able to stop it from countering, meaning I could do whatever I want without the Miki doing anything. And I decided to take Blue Lua, which I actually had gotten geared specifically for the Miki matchup. So I took her, and his last pick was Arya, which was once again to try to fight my top 3 because I have so much red units on my team. I decided to just get rid of the Harsetti because, well, I have all my things. Harsetti's out in the open, and I have 2 things that deal with his 3rd pick. And it's not like he has things that I cannot beat with the rest of my team, right? So I was like, he has to ban Mort because his Arya can't do anything, and I have Blue Lua here, which can deal with his Miki. So I decided to just ban Harsetti. Now he does outspeed me here because I don't have a really fast Blue Lua. I just have a really high effectiveness Blue Lua because once again I geared her specifically for a Miki matchup. So I just have her with really high effectiveness. So because of the fact he took the turn before me, he decides to save it because he doesn't have a cleanse. So we just go for S2 here. And then we just S3. And because we geared this for this matchup, we land on everything. And pretty much at this point, our win con is just to kill the Miki because she no longer has her active passive anymore, right? So once we kill a Miki, she can't do anything because she won't be able to proc Immortality. And we do fortunately hit here. If we didn't hit, we would have just kept hitting it with the rest of our team. So we just go into Ilanov here because Arya is reset, so we don't care about her. Unfortunately, we did miss on the Ross hit, so we didn't get Death Break, but we just keep going into Ilanov. So we soul burn here, just guarantee Death Break. And pretty much with that defense break, this thing is dead. And the match pretty much ends here. Alright. I just played this match, so I'll just add this to the video as a bonus clip because it was kind of a really hard draft. So this guy had very weird bans, and I did not know what the heck was about to happen to me. So he picked Flan, and I'm just like, okay. So he banned Solitaria Amiki. As I'm going to the match, he banned Solitaria Amiki as a pre-ban. That screamed, this guy is a Flan player. So I was like, okay. He took Flan, and I'm like, okay, there's 2 openers available, which is Polly and Hera for me. I decided to take Steve Phantom Politis because it counters his Flan. Knowing that I do not have any other picks that can counter Flan later on in the draft, I steal the Poly as fast as possible. From there, it's like, okay, what can I take as a second pick? I'm not a huge fan of Crow, but I don't have any other options. I have to be a little bit discreet about my draft. I cannot just pick outlandish picks like Tori or something. I have to be a little bit careful. So I decided to just take Crow because he's safe. He's going to Flan, and I have him on Bastion, right? So I can't just get Death Broken at the start of the match. And he decides to go Mort Hera. And from here, I'm a little bit conflicted. Because it's like, A, I can't take Solitaria, I can't take a Miki, but Miki wouldn't even be good because he took Mort. So Mort is not the best idea for him, but I guess he did it so I can't take it, supposedly, maybe. Or maybe for Young Seiya, I'm not too sure. But he took Mort, and then Pera. And the Pera being with Flan is kind of really scary because I can't stop him with Solitaria, so he gets to dual attack me. So I decided to take Elagos here. Elagos being able to shoot Flan completely, and it's somewhat good into Mort, And if I somehow outspeed, I could shoot the Para too, right? And if I do get a payday, I get to briefcase one of his teammates and take them out. So that's the reason I took Elagos on 3 here. And Elagos is another good pick here because I know for a fact his speed is a little bit convoluted. Now, my Elagos is 280 speed, meaning he's not good if my opponent is playing really, really fast. But knowing that he has Flan on 1, which can be anywhere from like slow to fast, he has Mort on 2, which is definitely not, usually 99% of the time, they're not aggro Morts. There has been aggro Morts, I know it. Vic has like a 241 for Guild Wars, or he used to. So I know it's possible, but most of the player base are not running a speed Mort. And then Para obviously is really, really fast and could outspeed me. But she has single target. She does not have a strip. Meaning, they cannot strip my stealth turn 1. My Elagos will do something. And from here, I was a little bit conflicted on what else I should pick. I was between picking Tori or maybe something else like a Red Poly to counter his like CR pushing, or like a Celine. But I didn't want to take the weaker one, right? If I took Poly, I don't have damage. My only damage is Elagos. If I took Celine, it would be a little bit on the weaker side to his Flan. And if I took something like I just needed something that was good and neutral. And if I didn't take Tori, that means he had the ability to take Tori. And how do I deal with Tori if he takes Tori, right? So I decided to just take Tori. And he goes Harsetti, Young. And from here, I'm like, oh shoot. And this is kind of the same thing I talked about earlier in the video, where if they take Harsetti, you want to be careful with it. I'm like, oh shoot, because I have a bunch of fast units and Harsetti's on board. So whatever his last pick is, I have to fight it. And he decided to take Young. I decided to just take Celine and say screw it, because if he presses buttons on this, none of these can actually get an evasion buff, so I should be able to try to kill something, right? So I just took Celine and he decided to ban it. Now, the main reason I wanted to show this match is because it was very, very hard decision making the whole entire time. I had to play very carefully because there was too many things that could go wrong if I played incorrectly. So he decides to press buttons here, and he goes up and he goes into Tori because he can't hit anything else other than Crow or Tori. And he tries to go for Tori to get her down. The first hit knocks the barrier, and I'm getting a little bit scared here because, well, he can hit a bunch of things. And I was thinking he was going to S3 to continue to run me down, but he decides to S1 to knock me out of stealth, which was a little bit scary for me. And I think he also did it so he can get back his focus, so he has evasion, right? So I S3 because there's no reason not to, and I need to push back, but unfortunately the Mort resisted my pushback. Now, on this turn here, there's so many things going through my head, because this could go easily wrong. If you don't know how the interaction between Elagos and Young goes, if you have Flan on your team and you also have Young, if the Elagos tries to shoot Flan, it does enough damage to proc her passive, meaning the kick comes out. If Para's already at 0% and she's the least priority target out of everyone here. So it's like, why would I shoot this, right? It doesn't make sense. Because if I shoot this, I get focused down and I get damage. But like, if I shoot this, it doesn't make any sense. The next in line, Mort is right up on me. Now, I do have rage buff and he has speed down, so I should lap him, but still, I should be careful about shooting this, right? And I also saw Young here, and I wasn't thinking this in the moment, but if I just shot Young, I think I would have been in a way better spot, especially because of the fact that this had speed down. But I just wanted to ensure that this thing could not take a turn, because if it did, it would go very badly for me. So I decided to shoot the Mort here. It was a little bit risky because if I did too much damage, I would have procced the Divine Vessel, but I decided to go for Mort because I wanted to get the pushback. Now, if I had gone for Young, this next turn would have been way better, because as you can see, he resisted my pushback. So it's now or never on this turn, and I need to go onto the Mort, onto the Young. If Young needs to die on this turn, so I can trigger Briefcase, and I should be able to win once that happens. But as you can see here, even with Rage and with my team attacking on Poly, I did not do enough damage. And this is where I become super conflicted once again. I could kill Young, but briefcase doesn't trigger off your own kill. So I was like, huh, what should I do? Should I and I decided to just go onto Mort because it's the most amount of damage, but I think it was probably the wrong choice. I think now if we look at this match, I could have gone to Pyra, because if I got into Pyra, I wouldn't have triggered Divine Vessel here. But at the same time, the Mort did have Holy Sack, so maybe it was good. So it kicked the Elagos, which was probably the worst target, but at the same time, Elagos no longer had stealth. So I pushed back the Mort because the longer I push back the Mort, the better, because if he stomps me, I will lose my, I will lose a ton of HP, and if I get feared, I won't be able to take any turns. I decided to try to finish off the Mort here, and I killed. So Pyra was able to take a turn here and dual attack into me, and unfortunately she was able to land defense break here, which kind of scared me a lot here. The match I could easily lose the match here if I lose my Crow. But unfortunately, I am not on Holy Sack because I don't have one. And he does crit me off this hit. So this final hit here is quite literally a game changer. If he kills me here, I lose the game. But unfortunately, he was unable to kill. So from here, I can pretty much do whatever I want. There's 2 kill targets here. There's Flan, and then there's Voyang. I didn't want to accidentally miss onto the Flan here, so I just went on to Voyang to guarantee kill, and I just go on to the Flan second, and then I just horse the Flan. I didn't want to soul burn, because if I soul burned and I miskilled, it would have been slightly bad for me. So I just went for my guaranteed kill. And I was able to take the match back from that. I just wanted to add that because it was such a scary match where I had to make so many decisions in order to maintain my game there. So anyways, that will be the final clip. Goodbye.